Welcome back to another episode of The Arena of Existence. I'm your host, Richard Sanchez. In this installment, we plunge into the profound philosophy of Immanuel Kant. In the heart of the wrestling match, where strength and strategy converge, there exists a dance of techniques that transcends mere functionality. The intricate interplay of movements, the choreography of holds and escapes, all mirror the principles of aesthetics. As we delve into the artistry of wrestling techniques, we find a connection between the mat and the realm of philosophy, with echoes of Immanuel Kant's thoughts on beauty and perception. At first glance, wrestling may seem like a raw display of power and athleticism. However, upon closer examination, the sport reveals an underlying elegance. Each technique is a brushstroke on the canvas of the mat, a calculated expression of physicality that is both functional and beautiful. From the smooth arcs of a takedown to the graceful contortions of an escape, wrestling techniques are a manifestation of the human body's potential for grace and precision. Immanuel Kant's theory of aesthetics introduces the concept of disinterested pleasure. This notion suggests that true beauty is appreciated independently of personal desire or interest. In wrestling, observers often find themselves captivated by the harmonious execution of a technique, regardless of whether they support a particular wrestler. This parallels Kant's idea that aesthetic appreciation is a pure form of contemplation, devoid of personal gain. Efficiency is the cornerstone of effective wrestling techniques. Every motion serves a purpose, whether to off-balance an opponent, secure a hold, or create an opening for escape. This principle of purpose-driven action closely aligns with the philosophy of aesthetics, where form follows function to create a harmonious whole. Kant's emphasis on unity in variety finds resonance in wrestling techniques. Just as Kant argued that a beautiful object is one in which diverse elements come together in a harmonious unity, wrestling techniques combine various movements into a seamless sequence. The elegance of a perfectly executed technique lies in its capacity to achieve its objective while adhering to the principles of form. Wrestling techniques unfold in a flurry of motion, a blend of strength, timing, and strategy. Spectators find themselves drawn into this kinetic tapestry, witnessing a display of human capability and wit. The aesthetics of wrestling stem not only from the execution of techniques but also from the perception of struggle, the interplay between opponents striving to impose their will. Kant's notion of aesthetic judgment aligns with the wrestling spectator's experience. As viewers appreciate the intricate techniques and the strategic choices of the wrestlers, they engage in a form of judgment that goes beyond rational analysis. Aesthetic judgment, according to Kant, involves a harmonious interaction between the faculties of understanding and imagination, an apt description of how wrestling enthusiasts perceive the artistry of techniques. Wrestling techniques, far from being mere displays of physical prowess, serve as conduits for the expression of ethical values and virtues. At the heart of the wrestling mat lies a space where athletes embody and demonstrate their character. Within this arena, wrestlers are bound by codes of conduct, emphasizing sportsmanship, fair play, and the pursuit of victory through honorable means. Immanuel Kant's ethical philosophy, particularly his concept of the categorical imperative, resonates profoundly with the ethics of wrestling techniques. The categorical imperative is a foundational principle that requires actions to be guided by principles that could be applied universally without contradiction. In other words, if an action is morally justifiable for one person, it must be justifiable for all individuals in similar circumstances. When we consider Kant's categorical imperative in the context of wrestling, the connection becomes evident. The concept of sportsmanship, treating opponents with respect, adhering to the rules, and competing with integrity, aligns seamlessly with the notion of an ethical principle that can be universally applied. If every wrestler were to treat their opponent with respect and fairness, the arena would become a space of mutual growth and shared ethical values. Wrestlers, guided by this universal principle of treating others with respect, engage in a moral exercise that extends beyond the confines of the mat. The application of techniques with integrity and the commitment to fair play reflect a commitment to an ethical ideal that transcends individual victories and losses. Fair play, a cornerstone of wrestling ethics, embodies Kantian principles. When wrestlers engage in a match, they implicitly consent to the rules of the game. This consent forms the basis for a mutual agreement to abide by the rules, creating a foundation for just competition. Kant's categorical imperative finds resonance here: each wrestler is treating the other as an end in themselves, respecting their autonomy and rights. In Kant's philosophy, treating others as ends rather than means emphasizes the intrinsic value of individuals. In the same vein, wrestlers who embrace fair play acknowledge the inherent dignity of their opponents. The aesthetics of wrestling techniques thus encompass not only the physical movements but also the ethical stance of respecting the humanity of one's adversary. While victory on the mat is often celebrated, Kant's philosophy invites us to broaden our perspective on success. Long-term success in wrestling, as in life, is not solely measured by wins and losses, but by the cultivation of virtuous character. Kant believed that moral actions are valuable in and of themselves, regardless of their outcomes. Similarly, wrestlers who consistently uphold ethical values in their techniques and interactions contribute to a positive sporting culture. When a wrestler chooses to forego shortcuts and underhanded tactics in favor of skill and technique, they are demonstrating a commitment to moral virtue. This dedication to the ethical path, rooted in Kantian principles, can lead to not only success in the arena but also the respect and admiration of peers, coaches, and fans. Thus, the aesthetics of wrestling techniques expand beyond physical beauty to encompass the beauty of virtuous character. Wrestling techniques are more than calculated movements, they embody ethics and virtues that resonate with Immanuel Kant's philosophy. By adhering to codes of conduct, valuing sportsmanship, and competing with integrity, wrestlers transform the mat into a stage for the expression of ethical ideals. Kant's categorical imperative serves as a moral lodestar, guiding wrestlers to treat opponents as ends in themselves and to choose actions that can be universally applied. In the arena, as wrestlers grapple, counter, and execute techniques, they engage in a form of moral artistry that echoes Kant's call for universalizable principles and respect for human dignity. The ethics of wrestling techniques elevate the sport to a realm where victory is not only measured by points but also by the triumph of character. Wrestling, often celebrated for its raw intensity, holds within its movements a hidden artistry. The techniques etched on the mat are brushstrokes of beauty, embodiment of efficiency, and echoes of ethical values. Immanuel Kant's philosophy sheds light on the intricate connection between wrestling and aesthetics, revealing that beneath the sweat and determination lies a symphony of form and function. As spectators witness the balletic struggle, they become participants in the aesthetic experience, recognizing the inherent beauty in the dance of techniques. Wrestling transcends the realm of mere sport. Emerging as a canvas on which athletes paint their artistry, philosophers find resonance with aesthetic theories, and audiences engage in the contemplative act of appreciating the sublime intersection of form and function.